This presentation is merely a brief overview of the topics covered in the chapter and should not be considered a substitute for reading the chapter. This chapter covers research resources, annual reports, 10Ks, 10Qs, proxies, and placing trades. Eric Tyson, the author of our book, recommends using Value Line. While Value Line may provide a fine service, few small individual investors are going to want to part with over $500 per year to access the Value Line reports. Sure, they are available in many good libraries for free, but who wants to go to the library to research a stock? Don't worry, Value Line may be Mr. Tyson's recommendation, but there are other great resources that are completely free. I use the online brokerage TD Ameritrade to handle nearly all of my investments, including my individual retirement account. I'm sure there are lots of other good online brokers out there, but TD Ameritrade has served me well over the years. Since our author uses Starbucks in his example, I'm sticking with Starbucks here as well. One of the reasons I like TD Ameritrade is because they have lots of good free research. This screen shows the basic stock quote and chart, which can be found nearly anywhere for free. Here are just some of the free reports you can get on Starbucks with your TD Ameritrade account. Personally, I find their Credit Suisse and Standard & Poor's reports to be particularly well done and valuable. You may find some of the others better fit your investment style. Here is the Standard & Poor's report for Starbucks, which the company rates as a 3-star hold, meaning that you shouldn't buy it, but if you already own it, hold it, don't sell. One of the reasons I like and trust the Standard & Poor's ratings is the quality of the research. Another is the long-term success rate of the rating system. In the Standard & Poor's system, 5 stars is a strong buy, 4 stars is a buy, 3 stars is a hold, 2 stars is a sell, and 1 star is a strong sell. This chart shows the performance of the Standard & Poor's 500 index since 1986 with the green line. The top line with the best return is the Standard & Poor's 5-star rated stocks. The line below that is the 4-star rated stocks. Just above the S&P 500 index is the 3-star rated stock line. Both 2-star and 1-star rated stocks performed worse than the S&P 500 index. This is a Credit Suisse report for Starbucks. Like the Standard & Poor's report, it goes on for several pages and explains how the analyst for the company views the prospects for Starbucks. After reading the Standard & Poor's and Credit Suisse reports, if I'm still interested in a stock, I'll often then take a look at the street ratings, which go on for several pages and do a particularly good job of measuring a company against its competition. Street ratings also explain the technical and fundamental reasons why they rate a stock as they do. The author wisely recommends that you examine a company's income statement and balance sheet before investing. That is an excellent idea. These financial statements are available for free on almost all finance sites, and your online broker will undoubtedly make these statements available to you for free as well. One of the nice things about the professional reports you can access with many brokers is that they break out the key data in the balance sheet and income statement and carefully point out any good and bad points that they spot. Here we see the street's representation of Starbucks financial data. Each publicly traded company is required to file certain reports with the SEC. These reports are made available for free to anyone who wants them. Your broker will certainly make it so that you can easily access these reports, the two most valuable of which are the 10Q, which is the quarterly report, and the 10K, which is an annual report. Here we see the most recent reports filed by Starbucks, including the 10Q and 10K. If we're going to buy and sell individual stocks, we should know what all of the numbers mean in a stock quote. The $33.59 circled in red here is the last trade price. So the last time a buyer and seller came together and made a trade for Starbucks shares, they valued each share at $33.59. Here we see that the stock closed yesterday at $33.12, so it is up slightly according to the last trade price. The stock market is open for regular trading on Mondays through Fridays from 8:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. Central Time. The $33.12 close price means that the last trade that occurred at 3 p.m. yesterday was for $33.12. Here we can see that the stock opened this morning at 8:30 a.m. at $34 per share. So the first buyer and seller to agree on a trade price and participate in a transaction valued each share at $34. This shows that today the stock has traded as low as $33.31 and as high as $34.79. This shows that on an average day, 8.6 million shares of Starbucks are traded. Notice that in the upper right corner of the quote, we can see that over 10 million shares have traded so far today. So Starbucks shares have been a bit more active than normal. Here we can see that over the past 52 weeks, Starbucks has traded for as little as $22.50 per share and for as much as $34.79 per share. Notice the $34.79 per share came earlier today, so Starbucks hit its new 52-week high earlier in the same day. Here we can see that the market capitalization of Starbucks is $25.1 billion. This figure is arrived at by multiplying the 746 million outstanding shares by the last trade price of $33.59 per share. This means that if you could buy all 746 million shares at $33.59 per share, you would pay $25.1 billion and own 100% of the company. Of course, you could not buy all of the shares for that price because as you began to accumulate shares, you would be introducing new demand into a fixed supply, so the price would surely increase. Here we can see that Starbucks earned $1.37 per share over the past year. TTM stands for 12 trailing months. The price-to-earning ratio for Starbucks is just over 24. We arrive at this by dividing the price by the earnings per share. Here we can see that Starbucks paid 52 cents per share in dividends to shareholders in the past year, which works out to a 1.57% yield at this price. When placing an order to buy or sell stock, you can choose between using a market order or a limit order. A market order does not specify the price. You can see a market order to buy 1,000 shares of Starbucks in the top graphic here. This trade will execute at the going market price, which will likely be very close to the last trade price of $33.65 per share. Market orders typically take less than 6 seconds to execute. Limit orders allow you to specify a price. The bottom graphic here shows a limit order to buy 1,000 shares of Starbucks. The limit price is specified as $33.50 per share. Since Starbucks is trading above $33.50, this trade will not execute immediately. Instead, it will only execute if Starbucks drops to or below $33.50 per share at some point before the market closes today. That is the end of this presentation. I hope you enjoy reading the chapter.